And welcome in a Tuesday edition of the Chico Bormann Show here on the Big Play Network. Great to have you along. However, you might be watching or listening to the program. I appreciate it. We appreciate it, of course, on the Big Play Network. Also, you can find us on Twitter at Chico Show, CLE. We stream live every single day. Matter of fact, I'm going to do that as we speak. I'm going to do that right now. And hit that stream and retweet and do all that good stuff. You can also do so on YouTube, and go to YouTube and type in the Chico Bormann Show, and you will find us there. Also do us a small favor. Actually, it's a big favor. Hit the subscribe button. We'd appreciate that. And we will be ready to go. We got a busy Tuesday, lot to get to. Another gorgeous day on the lakefront. Oh, boom. I mean, short sleeves. It feels like June out there.
You know what? Those Jets just look a little prettier in this sunshine. Don't they
really do.
It's a little different than when it was a little gloomier and colder out.
And, you know, the other thing is, and you use this, I will now be using this word on a regular basis, Boom. The lake, she is glistening. She is glistening off in the distance. Our view here, I don't know if we can't. Yeah, well, it's a very nice view here at the. I could do it phone wise, couldn't I? Maybe
you could tweet out a picture of it. I mean, technically, I could possibly turn one of these cameras around, but they tell me they don't really mess with them. They keep them where they are, keep them set.
Being that we're kind of the newbies of the bunch, I say we keep them right where they're at. So, I mean,
no need for any additional rabble-rousing.
Say that one more time, Bo. That was very good. Yeah.
I'm trying to gather myself. Hold on.
Oh, gosh. He's like, yeah, already he can't keep it together.
No need for any additional rabble-rousing, Chico.
All right, now you can laugh your ass off. Go ahead. All right, 216-626-7901. You can call us and get involved in the show. Again, 216-626-7901. Very pumped up on this Tuesday. One of my favorite people to talk to in my years on the radio, and I have not spoken with her. Well, we've spoken via text a few times, and I think once via phone, but lost touch a little bit after some things happened. But Samantha Bunten, NBC Sports and Sunday Night Football, is going to join us. She is a proud Mayfield, Ohio native. So, yeah, we'll talk a little NFL. We'll talk about the, Lamar Jackson saga and, OBJ and what that was all about. Now Jalen Hurts, did you hear that, Bohm? Jalen Hurts is, he's due for his big payday. And I love when people are like, well, I'd be real careful with What are you going to do, not pay him? I mean, the guy is he is your team. Now, again, I get the concerns about, I think he averages 11 rushes or did average 11 rushes a game last year. But guess what? Him doing that is one of the reasons Philadelphia, went as far as they did. And I know they lost a lot of guys in free agency. We'll see how they lost their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. So they've got some stuff to work out. But I always laugh at that. Now, again, if you're talking about a guy that already has injury, that's one thing. Jalen Hurts did miss some time last year. I get it. And, of course, being on the heels of Lamar Jackson, you're always – but, like I say, what are you going to do, not pay him? Of course you're going to.
Yeah, I think and by the way, I think I need to eat some crow for my stance on Jalen Hurts from not too long ago.
Yeah, let's bring that up. Boom, I'm glad. You know what? your stock just went a little bit higher with me. I'm a fan. Made a when you were on the free agent market, I was banging management door down to get you in here. But I will say you crushed me pretty good a couple of years ago. Now, in fairness, I believe I said. This was back when Brady was still playing. Oh, my gosh, decades ago when Tom Brady was playing. Remember those days?
The good old days.
Exactly. So Philadelphia was taking on Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and I called for the outright upset. It didn't quite happen that way. But I did say I believed that Jalen Hurts was going to be a legitimate NFL quarterback. I'm not going to say I thought superstar and still he's got to do this for, many more years and whatever. But there's no question he is one of the toughest guys to defend in the NFL, in part because, yes, he is that threat to run. But, yeah, I think it's safe to say I don't use this term very often. You poo-pooed my idea of Jalen Hurts being a legitimate and longtime starting quarterback in the National Football League.
And I think he had one of the most impressive transformations that I've ever seen from an NFL quarterback. Like, at that point in time, I really didn't have a lot of faith in his arm talent. I don't think that he was capable of making the throws that he needed to make. But suddenly this past season, he's been dropping dimes, Chico. It's astounding. He looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he wasn't the same. He's not the same quarterback now that he was then. And I'll admit that I had no faith whatsoever. I completely doubted his ability to become what he has. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was completely wrong. And I suppose now is the time that I own up to that.
Boom, you seem to have a little bit of bravado when you said dropping dimes. Like it made me reflect back to the commercial with Kevin Love. Is that what you were
dropping dimes?
I apologize to everyone out there for my good buddy Michael Bohm. Well, I'll accept your apology. Here's the thing about Jalen Hurts. Getting serious for a moment though, Jalen Hurts put in so much time, so much work, and you say, well, you hear this a lot. He's an NFL quarterback, and he should. Absolutely. That's why that's why I had no issues and no problem saying that Johnny Manziel was going to amount to zero here in Cleveland or anywhere in the NFL because he just didn't give a damn and didn't care about working. Jalen Hurts, to your point, there was legitimate question. Like, is he, basically what he was asked to do? I'm not going to say he wasn't asked to throw the ball in college. Obviously, we know. But there was one thing that I saw, and I continue to say, and this is why I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan. When Tua Tagovailoa took over in that national championship game and of course, led Bama to victory, I've talked about this many times, but Jalen Hurts being the first guy there to celebrate with him, and then, as they usually do, 3, 2, 1, and okay, it's over, Bama win. And the camera immediately goes, and the focus immediately goes to Tua Tagovailoa. And there's Jalen Hurts right with them, and they're talking to Jalen. Obviously, they're going to, the reporter's duty is going to ask him, hey, how you feel? And he basically says, are you kidding me? We won the national championship without this guy. Like, that is a level of class and sportsmanship and teammate that you just don't find all that often. I'm not saying he's the only one, but again, we're talking about the grandest of stages when a lot of guys would have just ran off and sulked and well, I had nothing to do with it and I got benched, and now not Jalen Hurts. So I've always been, since that day, a huge Jalen Hurts guy. But truth be told, there was some but man, he just, if you go back to last off season, or as soon as the 2 seasons ago, as soon as it ended, that's all he did. He was just nonstop working out, QB coach, and what can I do to get better? And that's why I love him. I good for him. He should get paid. He will get paid by Philadelphia. They're saying it might come maybe this week. I don't know. We'll see.
Now, how do you think? I mean, there's so much I could say about Jalen Hurts because
now you want to jump on.
no, the level of professionalism is top notch, and the leadership is beyond clear. Like, this guy is a leader of men,
Absolutely.
and the work ethic is undeniable. And so, I have nothing against the guy. I never had anything against the guy, but I think he was too reliant on his athleticism at times because he wasn't able to get it done with his arm. But now that has all changed, and he is able to get it done with his arm. But I wanted to ask you, Chico, how do you think this impacts the whole Lamar Jackson situation? Does it make it more complicated, or do you think this could be leverage for Lamar? And I guess it depends what the deal would end up being.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I heard 7 years, I think, 340 something. And now, again, what's the most important part? We know what's the guarantee.
Yeah.
I have no idea, and that's what Lamar cares about too. Now, here, I say this, and it's tough because, look, I know they're a division rival, and I hate the Ravens just like you guys hate the Ravens, trust me. But I think respect is respect, and I respect what Lamar Jackson has done in this league. The bottom line, though, is right now he's, you can't help but think he's on the decline. He's 10 of the last 22 games. He wasn't able to finish. That's a big deal. Wasn't able to finish, and he's been banged up. So to say, well, okay, what does that mean for Lamar? Lamar could feel, well, not really. I mean, Lamar's a little bit older. What is the age difference, by the way? Or I should say he's taking more hits. Now, people nationally are already saying, well, Jalen Hurts is on that track. He's on that path. 11 rushes a game. Like, he's had plenty of hits, and he did miss some time last year.
Okay, so as far as the age differences, Jalen Hurts is 2 years younger. He's 24. Lamar is 26.
Okay. And Lamar still is very young. But again, with NFL and with the NFL, it's like running backs. Well, how much mileage is on those tires? Not necessarily how old you are, how much mileage is on those tires. Did he go over 200 carries? Hell, did he approach 3? Kind of the same thing. But I think if you're Philadelphia, what are you going to do? How can it not be a decision? You can now the franchise tag comes into play here. I mean, you can definitely you could do that. I don't really know Philly's salary cap situation and all that good stuff, but it is something that I'm sure that they could think about. Usually the player doesn't like that because they want the long-term security. I would say it worked out pretty well for Dak Prescott. It could work out very well for Lamar Jackson if he chooses to play and not sit out. I don't know. But all I'll say is good for Jalen Hurts. I think this is going to get interesting, though, because, yes, these are the questions. Joey Burrow is in Cincinnati. And what is Cincinnati going to do? And is Joe Burrow, should he be the one to break the bank? Can anybody see Mike Brown being the guy breaking the bank? Not really. But, again, do they have a choice? Okay, you have a choice, but do you have a choice? This is a franchise quarterback, took you within one play of a Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl. And, I mean, he's just getting started. And by the way, carried, now some of this is his fault because he does hang on to the ball a little bit too long, but carried an offensive line that was porous at best at times. So, this is the nature of the NFL, though. Owners, you say, well, hey, maybe you have to pay it, or you do have to pay it, you don't have to pay it. I think with Lamar Jackson, I think the Ravens are, and I said this, last week, the Ravens missed the boat. They should have signed him to the 150 guaranteed or whatever it was right after Josh Allen signed his deal. They missed the boat because if they sign him then I think, Lamar Jackson, because it's all about, okay, what did the guy before me get? I want to, I'm next in line. That's just how it works. Fair or unfair, that's just how it works. The Ravens waited. And now they're paying the price. Of course, they didn't foresee, hell, we didn't even foresee Deshaun Watson getting 250 guaranteed. And again, for those of you that said, don't blame Haslam, I'm not blaming Haslam. If anything, hey, that might be a good thing to come out of it, because it is forcing the hand of guys, like the Baltimore Ravens and Eric DeCosta, Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, eventually Justin Herbert with the Chargers. But, if you can get that money somewhere else, then go get it. In the case of Lamar Jackson, I don't think he can get 250 guaranteed somewhere else. As a matter of fact, I don't want to say he's not. He's not going to get 250 million guaranteed somewhere else. You can say that's unfair, and I could hear that argument, but he's just not going to get it. No team's lining up to do it. Now, Joey Burrow, I think teams, Cincinnati wouldn't let it. I shouldn't say that. Cincinnati, you never know with Mike Brown. But can you imagine if Cincinnati, finally becomes relevant, they get their star QB, and it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
I think that Cincy fans would be breaking out their pitchforks if that happened. Like, all-out protests. How could you do this and just let a franchise quarterback walk like that? Yeah. Just absurd.
That's a conversation for later, and I doubt that. Well, I shouldn't say that. These conversations are not. Baltimore tried to. That's the thing.
They creep up on you.
Yeah, the Ravens tried to say, well, that's a conversation for later with Lamar Jackson after Josh Allen signed. Now I'm guessing, because in my mind, boom, he would have had, and I know he doesn't have the agent. He's never had an agent. It's basically been him and his mom, but he would have viewed that as fair. Because, well, okay, hey, Josh Allen, same class. Josh Allen's doing great things with Buffalo, 150 or whatever it was guaranteed. Then, yeah, I can settle for that. That's just, I'm next in line. But as soon as you waited and Baltimore waited, don't wait too long, because you could get burned.
Just goes to show you what a little procrastination, the consequences can be from procrastinating. Now, with
write that down, kids. Write that down.
Let
kids.
that be a lesson, kids.
School's still in session, but listen to Professor Bohm here. Little procrastination that can get you in trouble. God love you. God love you. All right, 216-626-7901, 216-626-7901. On Twitter at Chico Show CLE, and of course on the YouTuber thing. Go to YouTube and the Chico Bormann Show, hit subscribe, and we're all good there. All right. Guardians last night. I felt like last night, and I always preface this by saying I know these games are early, but they're still big games. And I think in this series, when you have your ace on the mound, and Shane Bieber, while he wasn't great to start, man, did he transform into Cy Young form. What was it, 17 of 18, 18 of 19? He was, once he gets locked in, it's hard not to think of Corey Kluber when you watch Shane Bieber. If for no other, I'm not saying necessarily the same stuff exactly, but I'm saying just the makeup, how he handles himself, and when those guys get locked in, like really many ace pitchers, when they get locked in, good luck. You could walk up there with it doesn't matter how big that barrel of your bat is, you're just not going to barrel him up. And he really locked in. But James Karinchak, wow. We told you, he's got a little emotion. I wonder if James Karinchak, like, if he's at the grocery store, right? And all of a sudden, like, you're going through, you're running through, and he's picking up some milk and bread, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, it's, that's buy one, get one free. Does he? Yeah, yes. I feel like he does that with everything. I don't mind it. Here's my thing. As long as you don't, you're not looking at the opposing team or doing it at an opposing player. Now, somebody is going to say, now, wait a minute, Chico. Just last week, you were all over that girl from LSU, or all over people that were criticizing the girl from LSU, Dave Portnoy, who said she was, blah, 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 this and that, obscenity. And I said, look, trash talking is part of the game. It is. I also said I didn't like what she did. But again, Caitlin Clark she kind of brought it on. And in the end, could she have done it better? Sure. Could she have done it earlier or not gone right? Yeah, but it is the heat of the moment. And as long as, and this goes back to, of course, last year with Josh Naylor in the postseason with the with the rock the baby thing. I hated it. I'm sure I'm going to get killed on this. It's okay. I'm a diehard Guardians fan. I've been an Indians Guardians fan my entire life. I hated that celebration from Naylor. I love Naylor's passion. I love the fact that he's, but that seemed like it was directed. Was it Garrett Cole? I think it was Garrett Cole on the mound. It just seemed like it was absolutely like now maybe he's looking into the Guardians dugout. It just, to me, it was a bit much. It was a bit much. Now, again, people are going to say that's just who Josh Naylor is. Okay. I can still I can agree with that and also say I didn't really like the look. And I'm not look, I like these guys having fun. Karinchak last night, he didn't show up anybody. Now even Aaron Boone, Uncle Arnie. We'll ask Brett tomorrow for his Wednesday segment talking MLB. Uncle Arnie was asked after the game and he's like, "No, that was a big spot." He had Gleyber Torres lead off with that triple. He's standing on third. Think about that. You got to go through Aaron Judge, Anthony Rizzo, and Giancarlo Stanton without letting Gleyber Torres score. Pop up, strikeout. Are you kidding me? That was a huge, huge sequence. And I think it was probably, he always does run hot. He does run with a lot of emotion. And I'm sure a lot of that was a little bit of carryover. He hated how that happened on opening night, the 3-run home run and the pitch clock and all that getting him. So his team needed, and they absolutely needed him to come up big in that situation. And man, did he come up big. I have no problem with the celebration.
I'm with you, Chico. I think Karinchak is a guy who probably puts a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And he was off to that rough start, to your point. And look, the celebration in itself, he was celebrating like it was like a playoff win. But he probably knew that was the last time he was going to be on the field, and he did his job. And it had to feel so immensely satisfying for him to do that and to be able to prove that this pitch clock was not going to be an issue for him. So I really don't mind it, and I agree also that I don't think it compares to what Josh Naylor did, because that was just outright overly excessive taunting that if I'm a Yankees fan or player, that's like Baker Mayfield planting the flag against me, it's just...
You still can't get over that. You're still not over that one.
I hate that we lost that game like that.
Yeah, that was pretty brazen. I've gotten into this debate many, many times, okay? I don't want anybody to say that I don't like Josh Naylor. But come on, man. That was a bit much. And that was to me, that wasn't you're doing it with your teammates. Karinchak, obviously he nearly ran over. I mean, thank God Zunino had his gear on, or he would have.
How about Zunino, by the way? Getting it going for the Guardians offense.
Yeah, and it's funny because right now Zunino is a guy people aren't real happy with him behind the plate. They think, his setup, they think he gets too casual and he's, a bit lazy behind the plate. I think we got to, I know he's coming back from injury, so let that play out a little bit. But yeah, you're right. With the bat, he's been pretty damn big for them early. And it's funny, you look at the bottom part of the Guardians order. I mean, Miles Straw on that 9 hole is thriving. Mike Zunino is getting it done when he has to get it done. So we had good news and we had bad news last night, though. Yesterday. Now, we got off the air. We're off the air at 3. We go 1 to 3 Monday through Friday here on the Big Play Network. And when we got off the air, I immediately heard or got the message that Aaron Savali was placed on the disabled list, or IL, whatever they call it these days, with a strained left oblique. And I mean, let's bring him in. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Sorry. He's around here. Oh, I got to be gentle with him, too. He's got a strained oblique. Be very careful. Now, Aaron pitched really well that first outing. He was his second outing, and then now they're saying that he had a strained oblique over the weekend. He's going to be out a few weeks, and that's tough because you're already missing Tristan McKenzie. I'm not going to really mess with him too much there because he's brittle. But
got to keep that bobble on a pitch count, Chico.
Thank you, Bo. I saw you like leaning into that mic. You were like just waiting to get that out. But, we're talking about a rotation now that already is without Tristan McKenzie. Now you're going to be without Aaron Savali. They brought up Peyton Battenfield. Hunter Gaddis is going to be going tonight. Now, Battenfield is a guy that could very well if he doesn't get work tonight, and we don't know. I mean, Gaddis, he's done well when called upon, but let's say he gets off to a horrible start, and this becomes, you're trying to, get through guys and trying to get through this lineup. Well, Battenfield's probably going to be called upon, and if so, he's not going to be available tomorrow. If he doesn't have to pitch tonight, my guess is he's going to get the call tomorrow in the finale of the series against the Yankees. The big debate now is we know about the depth on the farm for the Guardians and the depth of arms and really the big three in Daniel Espino. He's hurt right now. Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee. And Zach Meisel joined us, I think it was opening night. We talked about Bybee, and he had a great first start with Columbus last week. 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, 5 shutout innings, was touching 97, 98, 99. He's another one of those guys, and this is, again, a tip of the cap to the Guardians and just how they do it. Controlled pitcher coming out of college, and I think he was 4th, 5th rounder, similar to Bieber. I mean, in terms of like where he was drafted, and Bieber didn't have, incredible velocity. He had enough, but even still, like Bieber can just pitch. And Bybee could do that, but now he's added because of all the development, because of all the tutoring going on on the farm system and with their pitching development and all that stuff. Now he's throwing 97. He was sitting 97, 98 in that game for the Clippers the other night. Now here's the thing: that was his first start in AAA, his only start in AAA. Bybee has, 13 starts in AA last year. So he's made 13 starts in AA. 1 just last week, his first one for Columbus, and he was outstanding. Again, 7 strikeouts, 5 shutout innings, 4 hits. But it is very early. Now, if this is June, and I don't think this is an I know we talk about, and it's fair. It's very fair because the Guardians are one of those teams that, the arbitration clock and when do we want to start it? That definitely plays a role. I think, though, after last year, they kind of proved like, hey, we're trying to win now, too. Now, this time last year, we weren't expecting. Nobody saw 92 wins coming with 17 guys making their major league debut. But here we are now because of injury. What do? I mean, Hunter Gaddis and Peyton Battenfield are they're nice additions. They're Band-Aids, right? The crown jewels in that system are whatever order you want to. A lot of people say Gavin Williams has now moved to number 1. Again, Espino's got to be healthy. Bybee's right there. And again, Bybee has been nothing but productive. And had that, great start last week in AAA. But you're talking about if you add those up, he's made 14 minor league starts. Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that because he breezed through high A. But 13 starts in AA and 1 start in AAA. Boom, are you pulling the trigger this early on Tanner Bybee? Now, I mentioned Shane Bieber. Shane Bieber had 14 starts in AA, 8 in AAA before he was called up, and obviously never went back down again. So this is a big decision, I think, right now for the Guardians and for Chris Antonetti and for Mike Chernoff. Bybee is one of the guys that you're thinking is going to be, for years and years, especially if, they lose Shane Bieber at some point, and my guess is they probably will, to a bigger market club, and he deserves every last dime he'll get. But, Bybee, Espino, and Gavin Williams, that's kind of the wave of the future. Are you making that move already? Do you go? Do you kind of wait? You probably wait it out. You see how Hunter Gaddis does again tonight, and if he does well, you don't need Battenfield. Well, Battenfield will go tomorrow, but in the end, that's still 2 guys. I mean, Tristan McKenzie's not going to be back until end of May, so he's got a ways to go. And now Aaron Savali, and I know they say a few weeks with the oblique strain. That's anybody's best guess. Those things are, it's kind of like the high ankle sprain. I mean, it can be 2 weeks, it can be 4 weeks, it could be 6 weeks. You just don't know how Aaron Savali is going to feel. So you are Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff. You have a lot of money, which is, we appreciate you taking some time out and, running things here for me on the Chico Bormann show. But you're making the decision, Bone. Are you ready to pull the trigger this early on Tanner Bybee?
Now, when you mean pull the trigger, you mean like pull the plug and see what the guys behind him have in store, or pull the trigger like get him up here and?
Oh, get him up here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm not pulling.
I just had.
He just dominated. No, we're not pulling the plug on Bybee.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I think the Guardians are in a unique adverse situation here right now, obviously, with having 2 pitchers down. I think it's worth giving him a shot, at least giving him an opportunity to get his feet wet. I mean, you're sitting pretty right now if you're the Guardians. You're winning tough games against tough opponents, and you're putting up you're racking up more runs than I expected, frankly, offensively, albeit with some struggles here and there. But I think you're in a good position where if Bybee comes in, he's going to have the right kind of support around him and be in the perfect situation to make his debut.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, and I know the Guardians are very cognizant of this stuff, whether it's a pitcher or a position player. You bring a guy up. Now, again, last year, I didn't expect all of that. I didn't expect – that's why I was excited when they said, you know what, we're moving on from whoever it was, Bradley Zimmer in right field, and we're going to be, we're going with Stephen Kwan. And that continued. I mean, Oscar Mercado, okay, no, and they continued to, churn through and find these guys. And Bobby Bradley, we've seen enough. It is tough if a guy really gets rocked at the major league level. You don't want to ruin that confidence. Now, at the same time, hopefully he's mentally strong and a guy that, isn't just he has a bad outing or two and all of a sudden he's crushed and he's no longer the same player. But it can be a really tough go, especially when you are a highly touted guy like Bybee is. And he's kind of, I don't know if rocketed through the system is going to be the right phrase here, but before, like say a year or two ago, it was Gavin Williams and Daniel Espino, and Bybee was there, he was talked about, but now all of a sudden, I still wouldn't put him above those 2 guys, but if he's below him, it's not far below him. Bybee has some serious stuff, not to mention one of the reasons they wanted him and drafted him in the 5th round coming out of college was he's a control pitcher, and he has that, just that makeup, that demeanor, a guy that doesn't get rattled. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, and starting tonight, they got that win last night, which I thought was big. Again, with Shane Bieber on the mound, you want to get that W. You want to get your guy with your ace. You want to get that win. Now tonight, it's not going to be easy. You've got the Yankees lineup, but you got Garrett Cole, who's off to a great start. So Garrett Cole's going to be on the mound tonight against Hunter Gaddis. I mean, obviously, advantage Yankees. Anything can happen, but advantage Yankees. And then, tomorrow, who's going to go tomorrow? We don't know. Could it be, don't spill your water, kids. Always keep the cap on. You know what it would? Stop talking with your hands so much, Chico. I'm going to try something.
Just going to sit on them?
I'm going to try to sit on my hands and see how well this works. I think it was Pilkington who was originally slated, but it could be Pat. I can't even talk like this. It could be Battenfield again if he doesn't get much work tonight or any work tonight. Let's say Hunter Gaddis pitches well and they don't have to use him. He could get the call tomorrow in the finale in the afternoon. This is really weird. Like, I feel like I'm going to explode.
You look a little uncomfortable.
I feel like I have a nervous tick. But I really do. I got to calm that down. You think should I get hypnotized and see if that takes care of it?
Hypnotized to be less animated with your hands?
Yeah, because I'm worse. Like, they talk about Italians talking with their hands, and I know a bunch of Italians, and I talk way more with my hands than those people do.
Honestly, I think it's probably better content if you are more animated. You just got to watch out for the water. Just don't knock over the water.
Imagine if I may have hurt Savali some more because I already got the oblique strain. I might have cracked his cranium with the way I'm flailing around here.
No more bobbling for Aaron.
Yes. Thank you, Bo. 216-626-7901. So, again, good news, bad news last night at Progressive Field. Guardians get the win. They fight back. They claw back, as they do. They get the W. Shane Bieber really settled in. He was outstanding. James Karinchak with that was a Houdini act. That's what that was. And then Emmanuel Clase 1-2-3. So that's a big win against the New York Yankees. But now you're facing their ace, and you don't exactly have your ace on the mound. And, Tanner Bybee's there. You wouldn't normally be thinking about him this early, but unfortunately you've had injuries to Tristan McKenzie. And I think people had, look, even before these guys went down, there were still questions about the rotation. There were still questions about Plesac and Savali, certainly. Cal Quantrill, I've been saying it. I said it yesterday. Like, he's a guy. You saw him last time he pitched over the weekend. Was it Friday? He doesn't let the game get out of hand. Like, he will, he's not going to dominate a team, but he's also going to keep you in every game. He's going to, for the most part, he's going to give you 5 or 6, maybe even more, but he's not going to, he's going to keep you in the ball game. But, I mean, going into the season, even if there was a healthy Tristan McKenzie and Aaron Savali, you still had questions with Savali and with Plesac. Well, now you have even more because, Savali's injured again, and Tristan McKenzie is not due back until most likely end of May, June, and they will be very, very judicious with him. They will take their time as they should. So now what happens with Tanner Bybee? We shall see. Is he even in the? He is in the conversation, but how serious are the Guardians having that conversation now that Savali went down? All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Step aside. We're going to bring back an old favorite. Back by popular demand. Not really. I just said that because I thought it sounded good. But we played a little fair or foul back in the day on the radio show, Bohm, and you had a very prominent role in that, as only you can, if you are able to talk and not laugh, which is, I never know what to expect in that regard.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, I never know. But we're going to step aside. Don't forget, 2 o'clock, we're going to talk to Mayfield, Ohio native. I love Mayfield, by the way. Love Mayfield. I'm looking to move over there, to be honest with you. Anyway, not that anybody. Thanks, Chico. I'm glad you told me that. Now I'll be able to sleep better tonight. Samantha Bunten, Mayfield, Ohio native, NBC Sports, Sunday Night Football, also a huge baseball fan. We'll talk a little NFL. We'll talk a lot of baseball with her coming up after 2 o'clock. But right now, step aside. When we come back, it's time for a little fair or foul big play Chico Bormann Show podcast edition. Don't want to miss that, kids. Back right after this. All righty, we are rolling through on this Tuesday afternoon. Good to have you along. Chico Bormann Show here on the Big Play Network. Also find us on Twitter at Chico Show CLE. By the way, you can also tweet at me directly at Big Play Chico. Feel free to do that, whether you agree with something or disagree with something. That's fine too. And also on YouTube, you can check us out. Type in the Chico Bormann Show, hit subscribe. Samantha Bunten, Mayfield, Ohio native, NBC Sports, Sunday Night Football, and huge baseball fan. Loves the Gardos, and we'll be talking to her coming up after the top of the hour. But right now, Bohm, it's been a while. This was a staple of our show way back, and you played a very prominent role. One of the fears I always had and still do is that you will, and you've already demonstrated it in just the short time you've been with me here at Big Play, is that you will start laughing and not be able to get it back. So I hope, as we bring back Fair or Foul, Bohm, that you are able to hold it together Just try, Boom. Just try. All right, let's do it. What do you got for me?
Start off with a little music here.
Ooh. Is this,
Adds a little effect.
is this a Bohm special here? Is this?
It's just pre-programmed music. You know,
I didn't know if it was like your music, because you are a rock. People who don't know, Bohm, my producer Michael Bohm, is a rock star, where like he tours in other states and they have their own bus. Like you're not a big deal unless you have your own bus and you travel out of state. Bohm does that, so he's a big deal.
For anyone in Nashville, April 23rd, come see me. I'll be there. But I digress.
Do you ever, real quick, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you one more time. Do you ever laugh during your set?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, of course. I mean, not like...
I mean, like in the middle, because...
Like mid-song?
Yeah. You don't, no way. Because you're too intense. I've seen you, like, I've seen video of you, and you're like...
Too much adrenaline to, like, just stop everything and crack up.
Yeah. I can't see you doing that. But, yeah, you do, you get a little giggly. All right, let's go. A little fair foul.
All right. So I want to start off with the Guardians because we were just talking about them before the break. And so Miles Straw currently leading the club with a 343 average. Very impressive, a pleasant surprise. But you've also got Zanino at 320, as well as Jimenez at 318. 3 players over that 300 average mark. A couple more lingering, like Quan and Jose. So fair or foul, the Guardians will finish the season with at least 3 hitters batting at least 300.
Ooh, good question, Boom. Right out of the gate. I think Quan can be a 300 hitter. Not, way over 300, but he can be a 300 hitter. I'm going to go foul on that. And it doesn't mean that, oh, wow, they hit. Like, Jose, to me, is a, 280 hitter. I know I think last year was a little bit less, 265, 270, whatever. But I look at him as a 280 hitter. Obviously, with the pop, can drive him in, can score runs, can steal base. He can do it all. We know he can do it all. Miles Straw's not going to stay at 3-4. As long as they just keep going with this, because that's great. I tell you what, I think Jimenez, who's off to a great start, and man, does he look so confident. It's amazing. Like, when you go back to last year and remember before that, he struggled and his confidence, and then he had that year last year, and man, it's like, yeah, I belong. I'm an all-star. And making plays like he's Robbie Alomar playing second base, and he's hitting well, hitting with authority, hitting in the clutch. So I'll go Quan and Jimenez, although I think Jimenez might be like a 280, 290. So I'm going to go foul. I don't think they're going to have 3 or more as far as 300 hitters.
All right. Well, moving on to the next one, I want to transition to the hard court. So I don't know if this was officially announced, but Tipico, one of our sponsors, is offering a little promotion. Yeah. Basically, if you bet, the bet is Donovan Mitchell will score 45 points at least once in the series against the Knicks. Fair or foul, Donovan Mitchell will score 45 points at least one time against New York.
I'm going to go fair because, first of all, I think this series is going to go long. And we're going to get much more into this later in the week. But this series, I think, will go 6, maybe 7. I think there's going to be close games. See, unlike New York and their blowhard hosts who seem to think that Cleveland's just a speed bump. First of all, I think the Cavs are a better team. That's not biased. I think they're a better team. I think they're a more well-rounded team. You'd like a little more experience, but, hey, 51 wins, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, who I know Chris Fedor made a play for Defensive Player of the Year, 6th, I think, in the league in blocks, Jared Allen. So I think this is going to be a good series. I like the Cavs to win. I think they're the better team, but if I'm going to say it's going to go 6 or 7 games, you damn straight know that we're going to have some barn burners. And look, part of Donovan Mitchell being a superstar, and he is, is, doing what he's done this year. I mean, he eclipsed LeBron. Think about that. When you say you eclipse LeBron for most 40-point games in a season, that's saying a lot. Now you're talking about the playoffs where he's going to be counted on. Now the key, this is a great question. He will absolutely have at least one game of 40, 45, I should say. But will it be in a win, and will it be, because you still want to get, I know that's something I've been harping on, but that is still, you want to make sure everybody's getting their touches. I'm not saying, I have no problem with Donovan Mitchell dominating in crunch time, but make sure that you're running the offense. Make sure that guys like Evan Mobley, who's obviously is just incredible, Jared Allen, make sure they're running that offense. Last time they played the Knicks, or I should say, not the last time, the time before, the Knicks wanted to get it and go, and they love to get it and go, and they love to shoot the three. I want to have the Cavs dictate the pace, but I do think it's inevitable that Donovan Mitchell is absolutely going to get 45-plus in one game.
Now, you touched on Evan Mobley, and I wanted to ask you about him next here on a Fair or Foul on the Chico Bormann Show.
Good plug there, Bo. That was good.
Thanks.
I like that.
Yeah, so Mobley is garnering a little bit of buzz surrounding the potential of him winning the Defensive Player of the Year award. You told me before the show he's 6th in the league in blocks, but I think we've all seen what he's capable of, like his defensive versatility.
That's the big one. I mean, God, there's no stat to maybe not. There might be a stat. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just interrupted you.
So with that said, obviously the potential of this kid is through the roof. Fair or foul, his potential is big enough that he will win an MVP.
At some point in his career?
Yes.
I'm actually going to go fair on that. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, it's going to be very, very tough. And, of course, we already talk about now the criteria when people are debating and arguing and losing sleep over, is it going to be Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, or Jokic? But the kid is, I mean, we are looking at a superstar in the making right in front of our eyes. And it's not just physically what he can do. And by the way, it's plenty. But it's just how he carries himself. And he's just always poised. And you mentioned the defensive versatility. The block shots is a big deal, but think about it. Like, he can guard 1 through 5 on the floor. You can't put a tag on that. You can't. That is so damn valuable. And Jared Allen, obviously, is very athletic too. But Evan Mobley's on another tier, and he's going to get better offensively. He's going to get better shooting the basketball. Defense is, you knew going in. You knew his rookie year coming out of USC that if there was one thing he was going to give you right away, day one, was great D and protecting the rim and all that sort of stuff. He is, I'll go fair on that. Little bias, sure, but I'll go fair on that. I think Evan Mobley is in the MVP conversation and does win one before it's all said and done.
And especially you think the likes of like Giannis and Jokic, these guys are not going to keep up their level of play for another decade.
Well, yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of young talent still. So don't get me wrong, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's and again, is Cleveland, is that going to hurt him because they want you to do it for in the bigger markets or all that BS, which is total BS. Like I said, everybody's got their own criteria. But I think he will warrant the conversation and ultimately should get one, in my opinion.
All right, well, I want to shift gears to the gridiron now. Got a couple NFL fair or foul topics for you here, Chico. So, Greg Newsome, I don't know if you saw any of this drama on Twitter unfold this morning. A little bit of mixed signals I'm getting here. First, the report that he requests a trade. Adam Schefter comes out and says he hired new agent Drew Rosenhaus, and then suddenly he's happy in Cleveland. So I'm not really sure what to make of it, but I want to ask you, fair or foul, Greg Newsome will be a Brown in 2024.
Yes. He's going to get locked up. I mean, first of all, and I know it's easy to say, it's not my money and you're going to have to, massage the cap, whatever the hell it is those guys do, and they do it very well. But you just don't find corners like that. Now, does he need to be better and stay on the field and all that? Sure, but you just no. Greg Newsome is going to be one of the top corners in all of football. Back to the report, though, because I did see it, and then I immediately saw, no, there's no truth to that. I mean, enough of the drama. We don't need it anymore. And I don't know if anybody can put stuff out on social media. We know that now. We're hearing that it was refuted, and no, it never took place. I'm going to go with that just because it makes me happier, and I don't want to be upset. But yeah, 2024 and beyond, he will be a guy. Like I honestly have more confidence long term in Greg Newsome than I do Denzel Ward, and the only reason I'm saying that is because I'm concerned about Denzel Ward's health a lot more. But Greg Newsome shouldn't be going anywhere. You just don't find guys like that falling off trees.
All right, Chico. Well, final one to put a bow on it here on this returning edition of Fair or Foul.
Back by popular demand, or so we like to think. Go ahead.
With a vengeance.
Vengeance.
Yes. So we were talking about your boy Jalen Hurts a little bit earlier in the show. I wanted to ask you as we close things out on this topic, fair or foul, Jalen Hurts signs an extension before draft day.
Yeah. I'm gonna say fair on that. I think matter of fact, they're saying it could come this week, maybe next week. The draft is the 27th. Now the proposed numbers, I don't know if you looked that up. I thought I read or heard set like 7 years, 300. So now again, I don't know what was guaranteed, but yeah, I will say yes before draft day. The Eagles get him signed to a long-term deal, and we'll see what happens. But he's not. I mean, I know people say, well, and we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Do you paint? Go ahead, Boom. What are they? You seeing any numbers or no?
Still looking.
Damn it, Boom. All right. Well, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. All right. I'll tell you what. We're going to step aside again. When we come back, we hopefully are going to be hooking up with Samantha Bunten. Love talking to Samantha, and it's not all about football. Yeah, we'll talk a little football and get her thoughts on some of the offseason drama and the Browns gearing up for the draft. No first, no seconds, but 2/3, 2/4, 2/5, a 6th, and a 7th. But you know what Samantha loves to talk about more than anything else? Baseball. Guardians baseball. And we'll do that with her when we come back. It is the Chico Bormann Show. It's coming to you live from Burke Lakefront Airport Studios, the Big Play Studios. Don't you go anywhere. And we are back on a Tuesday edition of the Chico Bormann Show here in the Big Play Network. Also, you can follow us. We are streaming live on Twitter at Chico Show CLE. Also on YouTube, and you go on YouTube and you hit that little search button, that little magnifying glass, and type in the Chico Bormann Show. If you're not subscribing, do so now. I greatly appreciate it. Joining me right now, and she was one of my favorite people to talk to. Not that that's changed, but obviously we've changed gigs here, and we're broadcasting for Big Play Network here at Burke Lakefront Airport Studios, where it is gorgeous outside, 72 degrees. The lake, in the words of Michael Bohm, is what, Bohm? What is it?
Glistening.
It's glistening. Yes, it's glistening. So without further ado, Samantha Bunten, one of my favorites. She is a native of Mayfield, Ohio. She is also a senior NFL analyst, content director with NBC Sports, also with Sunday Night Football. And we'll talk some football with her. We will. But she's this is what really took Samantha up another 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 notches for me, is she loves, and I mean loves, and knows the game of baseball. Samantha, it is so great to have you on again. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be back. It's been a while since we've chatted.
It has been a while. There's no truth to the rumor that, a year ago you were mad because I referred to you as Sam, which you hate, and that because I said that you basically had me on like a 1-year suspension, because I know better. It's Samantha, and I will never, ever do that again, I promise.
Yeah, I think you did that like 8 times or something, and we kept going, so we were all right.
Bohm was at. It's so funny.
I'm going to suspend you. I'm like Rob Manfred with the Astros. I'm not meeting out any punishment for anything whatsoever.
Yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want there. Doesn't matter. Once you're in the old boys club, the owners club, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. All right, Samantha, I'll tell you what. We'll get to football in a moment. There's drama going on, Lamar and Aaron Rodgers, all that stuff. But I want to start baseball with you because I know how much you love it and how much you follow the Guardians. Big win last night. Good news, bad news situation. Good news is, obviously, they got the W with Shane Bieber on the bump. Started out a little rocky, but man, did he get locked in. Karinchak with an incredible 8th, a Houdini act of sorts. But Aaron Savali is back on the injured list. Who knows how long he's going to be out? A few weeks, an oblique strain. That couples with Tristan McKenzie, who began the year and probably won't be back until the end of May. The thing that I've been toying with, and I threw out there on the show last hour, the Guardians have a plethora of talent on the farm as far as the arms. And now the talk is, well, it's early, and he's only made 1 AAA start, another 13 in AA. But would you possibly bring up Tanner Bybee, or how serious should that conversation be right now at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's so early. It's so tempting to wait at least a couple of months because of the service time issues, obviously. But look, it's the McKenzie and Savali now. I mean, do you trust Zach Plesac to pick up the slack here? Because I don't. I mean, we have a start where he went 1 inning and a start where he went 7 innings. Who the hell knows what that really means? But yeah, okay, him, Hunter Gaddis, fine. McKenzie can't come back till, May 29th, I think, is the first day he would even be eligible to come off. And we're just hearing, I believe as of yesterday, that he was throwing a weighted ball. So that's a long way from being ready. And with that, and Savali, who honestly, I love Savali, and when he's healthy, he's wonderful, but he's not healthy very often. And an oblique strain, I mean, the kinds of injuries he gets while not serious are the kind that tend to nag and drag out. And I just don't know that we'll be able to count on him at all. So, I don't know, your window's now, right? You're in your competitive window. I think I would call up Bybee. Absolutely, I would.
And, I go back to last year, which, I mean, is still incredible when we talk about it today. 17 guys make their major league debut. This team still rattles off 92 wins, makes the postseason, wins the series. Just, incredible stuff. And of course, a huge credit to Tito and all those guys. But, I'm with you. I think because look, it's MLB's worst kept secret, and Cleveland is certainly in, one of those markets. Hell, every market does, no matter how much money you have, where the service time is an issue. But I thought last year, they kind of sent the message early, with Stephen Kwan and, okay, we're moving on from Bradley Zimmer and Oscar Mercado and Bobby Bradley. We got to get a look at these guys. And, they produced and they did what they did. I get the feeling that, it is a service time issue to some degree, but if they feel that he can help them, and here's the important part, because I know they really take this seriously as well, that bringing him up, you're going to have ups and downs. It's Major League Baseball, especially at the highest level. As long as he's not a guy that you think is going to really lose confidence, and by all indications, Samantha, he's one of those guys kind of like Bieber, in the mold of Bieber, with the, just the demeanor, his makeup. Maybe it happens much sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and there, as you said, this is not an organization that is prone to manipulating service time. So it's really more about, well, why would you bring him up if you didn't need to? So the question is, do you really need to do it, I think? Because, they've shown, certainly, I think, that they're not going to hold anybody back to the detriment of the success of the major league club. We know that. So doesn't some of this also depend on what's going on with Chicago and Minnesota too? Because if you're hanging in there as is, then you can play the odds that Minnesota is probably going to crater at least somewhat in the second half. And if you're within a couple of games of them, you're probably going to catch them. The chances of that are very good. Chicago's in a really, really bad spot right now in terms of injuries and underperformance. So they lost a solid.
Not to interrupt you, they lost Eloy Jimenez again, didn't they?
I know. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Joe Kelly just went on IL. My personal favorite, Joe Kelly, but just
that's
Tim
your buddy.
Anderson's hurts. It's bad. It's very bleak there. So that probably affects, I think, what you do. How many teams are you really trying to fight off here to go get in all likelihood, one playoff spot that's going to come from this division? But I don't know. Like you said, Bivey, he's not a Zach Plesac. Let's put it that way. He sounds like a guy who I think can handle the possibility of getting lit up when he first comes up and sort of the ups and downs of it, and the possibility that he might be back and forth, on the shuttle between Cleveland and Columbus that we've seen for some of these guys. So, I don't think there's any harm in it. I think I would do it. But I also, again, my only hesitation is, do you need to? What's the rest of the division looking like? I'd probably give it at least a couple of weeks and see where things stand.
And their schedule, to your point, and that's a good one. We're talking to Samantha Bunten, by the way. You can follow her on Twitter at Samantha Bunten. She's with NBC Sports and a huge Guardians fan, Indians fan, Mayfield, Ohio native. To your point, the schedule does ease up a little bit. Right after the series tomorrow with the Yankees, you've got Detroit, you've got Washington. So I'm sure they're factoring some of that into it as well. But, I think at the very least they're having the conversation. Now, Bibby, this is what makes it even more tempting is, he had his first start in AAA ever last week and went 5 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts, gave up 4 hits, and was sitting around 97, 98 in April. This kid's got stuff. Yeah, he's got stuff. All right, real quick, you're looking around Major League Baseball. I admit, and I know you're I don't know. I can't speak for you and say you're a traditionalist. I just know you love the sport. So for myself, when I heard about all the rule changes and all that, I'm like, I don't know. I got to say, I am very pleasantly surprised. Still some tweaking that needs to go on. I think they need to use better discretion For instance, when a guy has to trot back to first base after a foul ball or whatever. But I think all in all, with the pace of play and the pitch clock and guys are going to get used to it, I got to say, dare I say it too loud, Rob Manfred may have gotten this one right.
Is this the first time that we're agreeing with
Yes.
something Rob Manfred did?
Yes, you're exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the reason is because, you mentioned being a traditionalist, and I think in my heart of hearts, I am a baseball traditionalist, but, a lot of why I think this is working is because what these new rules are doing is making baseball look like what it used to look like before we got into this horrific 3 true outcome stuff where it was like walk, strikeout, home run. This looks a lot more like the type of baseball we used to see. And, if you think back to what, the dyed in the wool traditionalists, and, back in the old days before any of us were alive, I mean, if you go back to the 1920s, your average game was an hour and 24 minutes long. And then we got to kind of like the sweet spot of about 2.5 hours, which I think is pretty much like what we're aiming for, ideally, in the 1950s. And that's what everybody wants, right? And the type of baseball that we're seeing as a result of these, we're seeing a lot more putting the ball in play, a lot more moving runners, that sort of thing. Stolen bases are up. It's early. And like you said, it needs some tweaks. That situation with the Mets and Pete Alonso was bad. And We've had a couple of shows that I didn't love with this sort of, but who's really controlling the pitch clock thing that was not wonderful. What happened with Manny Machado trying to call timeout and all that. That's perhaps something that we need to look into and work on a bit. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I think this actually pushes us more back towards traditional baseball and towards what we want to see. So I don't know. It's kind of great. Like Rob Manfred, still hate the ghost runner, zombie runner, Manfred man, whatever you want to call it. But this batch of rule changes, I consider positive, at least so far.
Blind squirrel finds the acorn every now and then. And Rob Manfred may have just found his acorn. Thank God. We're talking to Samantha Bunten. All right, Samantha, let's go over to some NFL and a lot of drama within the Browns division. Thankfully, right now, it's not so much about the Browns, but about the Baltimore Ravens. We kind of saw this coming, but, originally, put it this way, I was asked point blank 2 weeks ago, how is this thing going to play out? And I'm like, you know what? They'll get it figured out. Lamar will be there. Now, I'm not so sure. I don't know what the OBJ signing was. That seemed like something Baltimore wouldn't do. Why did they do it? Is he really worth $15 million a year, possibly 18? Was it just to, appease Lamar Jackson? I didn't even understand it from OBJ's standpoint, because if you're signing a 1-year prove-it deal, I know everybody says, oh, he's got to have an inside track on what's going to happen with Lamar. I don't buy that either. So the whole thing with Lamar, the Ravens, now OBJ, that's an organization we're not used to hearing drama coming from, but I guess, I hate to say it, we'll take it right about now. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, pity the poor Ravens. I don't feel even a little bit bad for them. But look, I suppose we have to go back to that incredibly bizarre press conference that we saw. What was that, a week ago? Where it looked like a Saturday Night Live parody of
John
an
Harbaugh.
NFL press conference. That the faces that John Harbaugh was making, it was just extraordinary. And they basically told the media that they didn't. You can't ask us about that. And you're like, what? Why are we here then? This is weird. And OBJ, is Lamar Jackson going to sign significantly below what he was going to sign for because is now a Raven? I'm having trouble buying that. I believe he can still be a good player and contribute something, but not past his prime. Odell is not going to change significantly the financial guarantees that Lamar Jackson is looking for from Odell's beyond bizarre, right? What if Lamar does?
So we're getting Bohm is about ready to lose his mind. We're getting a bad connection, I know, and you warned us ahead of time that the hotel you're in right now, the Wi-Fi isn't exactly great. But let's try again. You still there, Samantha?
And traded again, probably. I'm sorry, guys.
She was
Sorry,
on a
still
roll.
struggling here.
All right, now we get okay. Now it sounds a little bit better. Okay.
Okay. All right. Where were we? I guess Lamar and OBJ were in Miami together at Prime 112, having dinner, celebrating after
Uh-oh.
Odell signed. So I mean, which is the place to be, if you want to be photographed with your new very best friend eating a $300 steak. So something to think about.
All right. And real quick on the Aaron Rodgers situation, I think it's interesting because both of these storylines, it started very early, and then it's kind of, well, I don't want to say it's died off because Lamar, there's seemingly new stuff every day, but nothing really earth-shattering. It feels like we're going to get, all of a sudden, we're going to get all these Shefty bombs and Rappaport bombs and Nick Shook bombs from NFL.com when we get to draft day and draft night. As far as Rodgers is concerned, this is going to happen, right? I mean, he's going to be a New York Jet. It feels like it anyway. I know they're talking about compensation. My only thing was, somebody said to me, well, yeah, that'll probably be a draft night deal. But if I'm Green Bay, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Samantha. If I'm Green Bay, I would want to know before the draft what my compensation is, because that might play into my draft plans for the end of April. Correct or no?
Oh, absolutely. Well, if for no other reason than look what happened a year ago. Like a year ago, everybody was so sure he was going to Denver. I mean, Denver was so sure he was going to Denver that they hired Nathaniel Hackett to be their head coach, and look how that turned out. So, yeah, I would want some guarantees if I were both Green Bay and the Jets well ahead of draft night. That is obviously going to impact on both sides what you're going to do there, and particularly on the Packers end, certainly. But yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a done deal, but it's Rodgers. We've heard this before. I think we need to be careful not to think that things are a done deal because Rodgers says they are, because Aaron Rodgers says a lot of things that turn out to not be true. But we're kind of past the point of no return with Green Bay, right? So he's going to retire. He's going to be a Jet. I mean, I don't know if I fully believe that he would be willing to give up the attention that would go along with retiring, but I do think he can force the trade through, and I don't even know who has the leverage anymore at this point. It's gone back and forth so many times. Probably Aaron Rodgers, but if I'm the Packers, yeah, I don't want to be doing this on draft night. Absolutely not.
It's so funny you say that about the what he. I mean, yes, people say, well, he wouldn't be able to walk away from that money. I agree with you. Like the money is a part of it, and I think just as big a part of it is Aaron Rodgers needs to hear Aaron Rodgers in the media, and needs to be able to, have a press conference where he takes a shot at a reporter or two because they're not as smart as him. And I love Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback, but it's just he's nauseating. I mean, he's gotten to that point where he's nauseating. There's just no way around it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's horrible. I mean, I love watching him play. I hate hearing him speak, I guess is how I would put it. He is an incredibly talented quarterback, and I've enjoyed watching him play, but I'm also looking forward to when he really does retire, because I'm sick of listening to this guy. He's just an absolute nightmare. He cannot stand it when the attention is not on him. I mean, we see it every year, right? Nothing's wrong, and then all of a sudden Aaron's got something to say. I mean, we all saw what was that ridiculous lose my number text or whatever it was during the off season. It's always something. He just can't stand not to have the spotlight on him. And unfortunately, when the spotlight does land on him, he doesn't acquit himself well at all. So yeah, if he could, quietly ride off into the sunset, that would be wonderful. But Aaron Rodgers isn't going anywhere quietly. So I don't know. I think I have fatigue on this situation. I'm just tired of it. I don't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers anymore. But of course, we have to talk about Aaron Rodgers. So
well, we won't talk about him anymore on this show right now. That's for damn sure. She is Samantha Bunten with NBC Sports and Sunday Night Football, and she does a great job for them. And you can follow her on Twitter at Samantha Bunten. Loves herself some baseball. And okay, so I've given you 4 hours, little less than 4 hours, to get ready and prepared. And I know you're very superstitious about things too. So ready. And tonight's a big one. Garrett Cole on the bump against Hunter Gaddis. So we're going to need all of your idiosyncrasies that jersey, no jersey, sitting on the couch versus the chair, whatever it is, you got to do it for us tonight to get this the Guardians another win.
Oh, I absolutely will. I've got the same Guardians hat on that I had on last night. I will leave it on unless there's a situation in the game which suggests that perhaps I need to change it up or turn it inside out and make it a rally cap or whatever. But yep, can't be too careful. Not sure if I believe in it or not, but we're not taking any chances right now. It's the Yankees, right? I mean, how great would it be to get this series win?
That's why we love her. Samantha Bunten, we will do it again soon. It was great catching up with you. Keep up the good work. And like I said, we'll talk to you soon. Go Guardians.
Go Guardians. Thanks for having me.
All right. That is Samantha. Love talking to her. I told you, she knows her baseball. She loves her baseball, and she also can't stand Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at too. I'll be honest with you, Bohm, I'm a little nervous because like I think right now it feels like it's just a matter of time and it's going to happen, but she's right. With Rodgers, you're never totally sure. Would all of a sudden, I mean, would it surprise anyone if tomorrow morning we woke up and headline is Aaron Rodgers is seriously contemplating retirement? Just for no other reason, but you know what? My name hasn't been out there a whole lot lately, and I kind of miss it because I'm totally with her. Like, yes, you walk away from a lot of money, but Aaron Rodgers loves. Don't let him fool you. Like, a lot of guys, oh God, I gotta do the media thing, and I gotta talk to the reporters, and so I'm not saying he enjoys every second of it, but he enjoys it a lot more than a lot of guys do, and he enjoys it a lot more than he lets on, if for no other reason. And look, the guy's like, he might be like Mensa Society type smart. I can't. No, my buddy Casilius is Mensa Society. I'm not going to put Aaron, but he's a very, very intelligent guy. But you can just see him while he's doing this. When he's talking to report, you can just see him working and just trying to be condescending, and it's just annoying. But that's just me. All right, so good stuff from Samantha Bunten. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more Cavs. Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year. I think you can make a strong case for him. And the New York Knicks. Now, all of a sudden, maybe New York Knicks fans are starting to walk things back. Kind of. We'll talk about it when we come back. It's the Chico Bormann Show. You're listening to it, watching it right here on the Big Play Network. Also on Twitter at Chico Show CLE, and find us on YouTube, the Chico Bormann Show. So, welcome back, Chico Bormann Show here on the Big Play Network. I was whining and complaining about this a couple of days ago, or last week, both. I'm getting these text messages like every day. It's not a matter of like, is it every day? It's every day. It's just a matter of how many. I don't know how it happened, but it's somebody, and it's usually me with like 15 or 16 other people's number attached to it who I don't know. And essentially they say, for the most part, hey, your settlement came in, claim your $37,900, payment by click, and of course, whatever, BS, yeah, thank you. So this happens every single day. And then I mentioned last week I got something from Kimmy. Kimmy, she sounds very friendly, like, yeah, who would say no to Kimmy from Walmart? Said, hey, this is Kimmy. We got your TV, and if you don't pick it up, well, we're going to give it to somebody else. So today I get one. It's John from FedEx. FED capitalized and then just lowercase x. I'll deliver your 4K TV on Wednesday, 4/12. Confirm the details. What should I reply? We'll leave it up to the listeners out there, the viewers out there. What should I reply to John? Now, before you say stop in all capital letters and hit send, I've tried that 3, 4, 5, 8, 9 times. I've tried. I admit, I'm sorry. I know we just got done with the Easter holiday, and forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. But some of those now are accompanied with obscenities because I'm so fed up with it. What do I do? Boom, what do I do?
Chico, in these situations, I like to roll with it, just to indulge them a little bit, go along with it. Now, of course, you've got to be a little bit lenient, but I make up the details. But if I were in your situation, I would probably run with it a little bit. Like, okay, do you have the address? Or sorry, link's not working.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, what's funny about this is when Kimmy sent me the text, Kimmy last week, she said, you have to pick it up. Well, that seems a bit inconvenient. Why don't you deliver it to me? Now, John's saying, now he doesn't tell me what brand the TV is. He just says, I got a 4K TV ready to deliver, but you got to confirm them details. I'm thinking about sending back like, John, here's the thing. You can deliver it to me, but I'm not real good at assembly. And, so you're going to have to not only deliver it, but I'm going to ask you kindly to assemble my 4K TV on Wednesday. And, if you could, I'd really appreciate it. So that's tomorrow, right? 4/12 Wednesday. So yeah, boom, party at my place. I got a 4K TV on the way. Well, the Guardians tomorrow afternoon, they play in the afternoon, so that series wraps up. But we'll watch something good on my new big screen that is coming for me, courtesy of John at. Just stop. Gosh, I mean, what did I do to deserve this? And before any of you are saying, "Oh, you don't go on those porn sites," it's not that. I don't know how social media. See, this is what happens. People make fun of me for good reason. I've had to step up my social media game since coming on here with Big Play, which I'm happy to do, right? So I now have an Instagram account, which I don't think has any posts. I don't even know how. I thought I had posts. Like if I get a reel from Nick or from somebody, I'll hit the airplane thing and it'll go, but I guess that's not considered a post. See, Bohm, you're laughing. So, but this is how naive I am to it all. So Instagram, I finally had an account. I didn't create it. Somebody created it for me, of course, because I don't know how to do it. Twitter, I'm on every day. Twitter is very, I like it really for my job more than anything else and to follow things. It can be a little crazy at times. You got to know when to turn it off, all that stuff, step away. Facebook, not bad. I mean, connecting every now and then with people I haven't. But
Wishing everyone happy birthday. I know how much you love that.
yes, wishing everybody a happy birthday. Yeah, when they say, no, that's usually on Twitter. Yeah, one of my pet peeves is when people try to shoehorn that it's their birthday. Like, well, sure hope the Cavs can win on my birthday on Saturday. Oh, is Saturday your birthday? Happy birthday. Stop. I mean, just come out and say, hey, my birthday is Saturday. Everybody please wish me a happy birthday on Twitter. Don't try to like shoehorn it in there. Okay? Don't say, they'll take a selfie, here's to another year around the sun. 48 doesn't look too bad on me. Oh, is today your birthday? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. We know. Yeah. And just once, I would love to see what their reaction would be if it was just crickets. Nobody says anything. They'd retweet that. Isn't that, I find it annoying. Maybe it's me being old. I have no problem wishing somebody a happy birthday. It's a special day. Now, for me, as I get older, it's not as special, but, I appreciate, hey, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. But I can't stand when people just go out of their way on social media or even in person. Like, I knew people that would take off work. What do you take? You're off coming up on Thursday? Well, yeah, it's my birthday. And I don't work on my birthday. Why? You're an adult, aren't you? Like, okay, if something's planned, if you have, your wife, your husband, your significant other, your kids, whoever, if there's something planned and okay, fine. But if you're just taking the day off and sitting on your ass watching soap operas all day, and when somebody says, well, why are you off? Are you sick? No, it's my birthday. I don't work on my birthday. No. Like, I don't understand that. I know I'm being an old curmudgeon, Bohm, but I most especially can't stand it on Twitter, and it's inevitable when people, and there's so many different ways that, like, a lot of times they'll try to, for me, because I have a lot of sports follows, or like I follow a lot of, so it'll be somebody that says, like, they'll use sure hope the Guardians win one for me tonight against Garrett Cole. Win one for me on my birthday. That's all I want for my birthday. Oh, is today your birthday? Sure is. Oh, well, happy birthday. Get out of here. God, it's annoying.
Can I just say my half birthday was 5 days ago?
Your half birthday?
Yes.
What's a half birthday?
It's halfway to my next birthday. I knew you'd love that one.
No, you know what? You got me started on this now, too. Sorry, we'll get into the Cavs here in a bit. The people, and this is mostly, and I'm not being sexist here, but mostly I find this from females. Not all of them, but some. Have you noticed the birthday week or the birthday month is a thing? Like, I remember someone not too long ago, a girl, said to me, so it was like, I don't know, first week in like February or something like that. She's like, well, what are we doing this week for my birthday? And I'm like, Your birthday's not till like the 17th. Oh, but it's my birthday month. Okay. Do we celebrate every day of the month? What? No. And like, if you're a kid, kids don't even get that jacked up for their birthday. I don't get it. To me, it's somebody craving attention. I want to hear from people. I'm gonna stick up for myself here. There are times when I will admit when I am being an old man yelling at the clouds. That's not what I'm doing here. I'd have more respect for if you just came out on Twitter and said, today's my birthday. I'd appreciate birthday shout outs and retweets, and you love me and you think I'm great, or you think I'm an idiot, whatever. I'd have more respect for if you did that. Instead of the, 28 sure looks good on me.
How about the people that retweet the photo of the balloons on their Twitter profile? What do you approve, deny?
Yeah, I just, and boom, I'm starting to wonder that you're one of those, like, halfway to your birthday.
That was a joke. I am weird with birthdays. I don't like celebrating them because I don't want attention for feeling like I'm getting older.
And I'll admit, like, there was a time when birthdays for me were cool, but like, I'll never, my aunt calls me, relatives call you, friends call you, say, or text you, hey, happy birthday. If you ever see me or on my account offer up what I just said as an example, first of all, something happened to me and my account's been hacked. There's no way I would ever do that. And if it really was me, I give you permission, Bohm, to line me up outside that. There's a jet right now on that, I guess, runway, tarmac, whatever, out there at Burke Lakefront Airport where we're broadcasting here for Big Play. Gorgeous day, by the way. You can line me up with right in line with their takeoff, because I should not be doing that. I don't know how did we get started on this?
I triggered you.
You did trigger me. It's all right. I just why
it triggered you?
Like, some of the people that do it too are people that really, like, I wouldn't look at them and say, wow, they really need attention. Like, they got a good career. Maybe they've got a significant other. Like, a lot of times, oh, well, it'd be nice if somebody, like Valentine's Day, and you'll get that too. Like, well, guess I'll just celebrate Valentine's Day by myself today. We all know what you're getting at, guy or girl. Stop it, all right? Because then you're going to get upset and go, wow, I didn't expect all of these DMs. My gosh, these creeps. Don't say anything about it. Go ahead, Bo.
Chico, I had an ex that her birthday was on Valentine's Day. So she didn't like to celebrate Valentine's Day on her birthday. So we would have a birthday celebration on Valentine's Day and then celebrate Valentine's Day on the 15th.
Yeah, that's like the birthday week.
Yeah, it was the birthday week and birthday month too. Like a lot of, I've heard people say their favorite month is the month of their birthday because of their birthday.
I mean, okay, so I was born in September. Oh, am I shoehorning it? No, I was born in September. September is an awesome month, but not for my birthday. So from a sports standpoint, I mean, you've got division races in baseball. That's number one. Football has started, NFL and college. Like, it's pretty damn good. It's really damn. And fall's here. Fall's my favorite time of year, temperature-wise. Summer's pretty cool too, but I like the, 60, 55, the foliage, as they say, Bohm, the foliage is beautiful. But September is, I would say October's probably my favorite month, but September's right there because it's fall. But yeah, I get that too because it's my birthday and nobody cares.
I am an October baby myself. Shout out to all my Libras out there. But no, I think I would take a summer month over October.
Okay. 216-626-7901. If I'm wrong on this, I mean, call me out. That's fine. I mean, I can accept it, but this conversation started a couple of years ago with some colleagues that I was working with, and it snowballed, and it was like I felt so. It was like a therapy session because I thought I was the only one that was like unnerved with this, and then one person agreed, and then the next person agreed, and then it was like all of us were like, "Yeah, that is so." So thank God people are in the same boat. All right, we move on. How do you transition in from that?
Just digress.
Get well soon. We hope you do get well. Seinfeld. All right, let's talk a little NBA, shall we? Hit it, Bohm. Hit it. You're talking hoops with Chico. All right, Cavaliers, Knicks coming up this Saturday. Game 1 at 6 o'clock. I am, just because, the Cavs are in the postseason and this team is very easy to root for. Like, even if you're not a diehard basketball fan, hopefully you root for your teams anyway. But this team is genuinely, I think, my opinion, very, very fun to root for. One, they did this. I know it gets overused, the term, but they did it organically, basically like some very shrewd trades, Kobe Altman. I even go back to Jared Allen. Nobody at the time was really, Jared Allen's been huge. And then, you obviously Rubio before, and you made that deal. Was that a trade or was that granted, I know he got hurt that year, but.
He was initially traded for and then re-signed this past offseason.
That's right. Yeah, but I meant originally. He was
originally traded for.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kobe Altman's been incredible. Evan Mobley, the fact that he dropped to 3, I didn't think there was any way. I thought Houston, it was Detroit 1, right? They took Cade Cunningham and then
Jalen Green.
Right, and then Houston 2. And I thought for sure, even though people were saying, oh, no, they're going Jalen Green, I'm like, I wasn't buying it. And I'm not going to pretend like I saw every one of Evan Mobley's games, but I watched a few of Evan Mobley's games. But from the people that did watch him, it was just after another. Like, this guy is scratching the surface, his attitude, and it's all what we've seen and then some from Evan Mobley. So the moves have been incredible, but we've seen this group grow together. And we've seen a coach in J.B. Bickerstaff, because it wasn't always like this. And that's not to complain and say that, when LeBron was here, of course it didn't suck. It was awesome. I mean, we were the center of the NBA universe. Your games were always, it was cool, and we deserved it. I mean, and I say we, the city, the fans, because, it helped the economy, everything. It was great. But it was all about one guy, okay? Now, if it's going to be all about one guy, well, LeBron James is a pretty good, and I have no ill will towards that. It is what it is. He brought a championship to Cleveland. Well, he did have some help. Yes, he had some help, but it doesn't happen without LeBron. Just forget about that. I don't care what anybody says or how much you hate him. It doesn't happen without LeBron. But I can be honest, it got old. The fact that it was LeBron and whatever LeBron wants and the coach, there was really no coaching going on. And I know, sorry, Tyronn Lue. I guess what I'm saying is that team really needed kicked in the butt a lot of times on defense, right? And it wasn't there. And then, you had the, even before him, David Blatt. Well, they weren't going to listen to him. And so this J.B. Bickerstaff comes in, and the only way, I wouldn't say the only way, but 9 times out of 10, when you're an NBA head coach, you're just not going to get, if you walk into a situation where you have a superstar or superstar players, it's pretty much them running the show. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't already know. That's how it is. So it's tough to hey, this is how it's going to be. This is what we're going to do, unless you're like Greg Popovich or somebody, right? And you've had sustained success for years and years and years. So what was so great about this, one, it was a surprise. I mean, I'll be the first to say, I apologize to Kobe Altman profusely. You were there for it many times, Bohm. Like, this guy, wow, what a job he's done. So it was a surprise. And then last year happened, and J.B. Bickerstaff, like, this is all of a sudden a defensive team. One of my pet peeves during the LeBron era was I hated hearing, well, you know, the light switch on and off, and we can turn the defense on. No, you can't, and you didn't. And you're not going to. I'm not going to say you're not going to, because yeah, you know, in the NBA you got to score points and that's important. But you get to this point in the season, we got, you know, first round of the playoffs, Cavs, Knicks, game 1, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse Saturday. You get to this point, you better play some defense. You better be communicating on defense. That was not a thing that we saw consistently, not even close back in those days. Now, hey, you won a championship. It was excitement. It was a sellout every night. It was, you know, NBA on TNT, ESPN, ABC. They all won. It was great. I would not change anything. But I'll tell you, this group, this version of the Cleveland Cavaliers is so much fun. And now there's playoffs to go along with it.
Chico, I'm going to agree with you that I think this team overall just is more exciting. Like when LeBron or Kyrie didn't have the ball, I think it took a little bit of air out of it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just less exciting. There was less expectations. But with this current Cavs makeup, you really never know where the spark could come from. Obviously, you expect Mitchell or Garland to step it up first and foremost. But you can get that kind of spark from a Mobley, even in certain games in Isaac Okoro, or even off the bench. Sometimes even a guy like Lamar Stevens steps up and becomes an immense contributor. So just the way that this roster feels so much more full of potential stands out to me. Now, you touched on Kobe Altman, and I think I would contend that he is probably the best general manager in Cleveland sports right now. Now, you could make the case that maybe the Guardians general manager front doesn't have.
They've done it for a while. Yeah, I mean, that's a little. I mean, Kobe's done, but it's got to be longevity and consistency. Now, he's well on that path, but no, I can't say that. That's,
to me, when I think back to the turmoil that this team was in amidst, like, just losing David Griffin, right? And then you come out of the gate and you have to trade Kyrie, and you wind up with a draft pick that nets you Colin Sexton. To get from that point to where this roster is now, it's just one of the most amazing turnarounds, and he did it the right way. And some of the moves that he made, I didn't see coming. And to me, I don't know, it feels like this Cavs team has far more of a sky-high potential overall than the Guardians do currently. And I think that is all.
Well, okay, that's another discussion. If you want to say the Cavs are closer, and I don't know if that's true, but Cavs are closer to a championship than the Guardians are. I mean, we can have that discussion some other time, and I think it's a viable one. But we're talking about sustained success, and in this town, like, I'm sorry, folks over in Berea, like, that's the big, like, that's why the Browns, like, I'm not done getting enthused and excited about them. I never will be, because I'm a diehard Browns fan and I've grown up my whole life rooting for them. But until we we throw around that word culture all the time, and until you start doing it consistently, until you run, I don't even want to hear about it. Meanwhile, the Guardians have done that consistently. Now, the Cavs, I think, are on that path. By the way, they got a little bit of help, which is nice, with the change in the rule from Adam Silver about you can keep 2. Was that of the whatever tag play? Come on, Bohm, you got to be on top of that stuff.
Is this like a bird rights thing?
No, it's not a bird right. I don't even know what the bird rights are. Bird rights, yeah. Bird has a right to land on that without any fear of being shot at or shooed away. Here's the thing. When you talk about the Cavs, though, the only thing I'll disagree with you on, you make it sound like they're really deep. They're not deep. This isn't a deep Cavaliers team. And that's okay. Like, I mean, now, as far as 1 through 5 and their starters, I mean, that's why we're going to see those guys. And JB hasn't even really, I think, been secretive about it. You're going to see these guys playing a lot of minutes. And that's why, we'll see about Isaac Okoro. Game 1, I've heard some reports say that, well, he might not be full go game 1, but by game 2 or 3, I don't know. But this is not a team that you say, oh, the depth, the bench is going to win it for him. Now, if that does, it'll be a pleasant surprise. But by and large, this is a Cavs team that, those starting 5 and a couple of guys off the bench, a Karis LeVert, they're going to have to carry the load. This is not going to be, I don't think this is one of those where you look in the bench, oh, wow, they were huge in the second half. Maybe certain guys stepping up in key situations. But this isn't a deep team, and that, like I said, that's okay. I think in this series right away, we're going to see game 1 on Saturday, and I think it's going to be a long series. Those guys are going to play and have to play the bulk of those minutes, and obviously, we'll see what happens. But the future is definitely bright. But I would disagree when you say, like, on any given night, anybody from the bench. No, they're not that type of team.
I suppose just when you juxtapose it to the LeBron era benches.
Did you just drop a juxtapose in there, Bo?
Yeah, it felt like the most appropriate word for this
really
circumstance.
That's good, buddy.
Yeah, so I feel like when you look at this roster compared to that one, it just feels so much deeper now. Now, at the end of the day, I think ultimately, when you're looking for bench production, it's all going to hinge on Karis LeVert and what you're going to get out of him, because he's been great lately, but there were
both ends too.
Yeah,
that's important to point out.
Yeah,
on both
so
ends.
Is he just in mid-season form, or is he on a hot streak right now? Some players just go through those phases where they're doing really well for spans, and then they have their down periods again.
I think that's a fair point, but I think he's been around long enough that I think he's going to be a contributor. I mean, he's one of those guys who's been around. I think he's going to be a big part of what they
need
do.
him to be.
Yeah. Now, obviously, all of that is moot if Donovan Mitchell doesn't play like a superstar, if Darius Garland doesn't do his thing. And I know I keep harping on it, but don't let the Knicks, dictate the pace. Don't let the Knicks, because they want to shoot the lights out, dictate what you guys want to do. Make sure you're getting guys like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen their touches. And, I think they should win this series. I'm not saying they should be prohibitive favorites or big favorites. I do think they will win it. I've heard some people say, they don't like the matchup. We'll see. I do know that New York Knicks fans and blowhard hosts that are saying that Cleveland is nothing more than a speed bump. Well, yeah, okay, whatever. But I'm pumped up for Saturday. Absolutely fired up. And again, it's for many, many reasons. Hey, you have a playoff. You have playoffs in your town, no matter what the sport, you love it. But with this team, it is just so easy to root for, has been so easy to root for. And folks, I know we get greedy, and I know people, they're going to go to the NBA Finals. They're going to win the Eastern. Okay. If they beat the New York Knicks, it's a successful season. Now, even if they fall to the Knicks, now it's got to be, because if they get swept out, which I don't think will happen, and they just get steamrolled, yeah, there's going to be some questions, and that's plausible. But I don't think that's going to happen. But just make sure to temper the expectations as far as like what you expect right now. The good news is, Milwaukee is clearly, I think, the best team in basketball. I don't think there's any question about that. I think every other team, including in the West, you've got teams where you can, there's some hiccups. Who knows? But, man, just enjoy this ride. Enjoy this ride. All right, special thanks to Samantha Bunten. She joined us from NBC Sports and Sunday Night Football. She is a Mayfield, Ohio native. Love Mayfield. Go Wildcats. And also thanks to Michael Bohm, who loves every single last player on that Cavs team, even the manager, he thinks, if need be, if called upon, Bohm feels confident the team manager could possibly pour in 34, 35 in a tough circumstance.
And knock down a clutch free throw when you need it.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Bohm, if you say it, I believe it. All right, so we're out of time. Coming up tomorrow, it's a Wednesday, midweek. We'll be right in the middle of the finale of the 3-game series between the Guardians and the Yankees. Game 2 of the series is tonight. Yanks have their stud, Garrett Cole, on the bump. It'll be Hunter Gaddis tonight, and we'll see how it plays out. But we'll be talking to Brett Boone, 3-time All-Star, and obviously a great guy to talk some Major League Baseball as we do each and every Wednesday coming up at 2. Until then, folks, get out and enjoy this great weather. And if you're, if you have the opportunity to, our lake, according to Michael Bohm, is glistening. Get out there and enjoy it. Until tomorrow at 1 o'clock, have a great Tuesday night. Go Guardians.